Okay guys, we built the server socket. Now it's time for building the client and then testing the communication between them. So let me exit this file. Okay, let's create a new file in the same directory and and call it simply client socket.py. Now let's open the file. I for insert. The first lines of code for the client are identical to the ones we used for the server. So first we should import the module, so import socket. Next we should create a socket object like we did in the previous lecture, so let's call it CLI from client equals socket.socket of socket.af underscore inet and socket.sock underscore string. Okay, so we use the socket method for this and the same parameters, where the first specifies that we are talking about IPv4 and the second refers to the TCP protocol. Okay, now it's time to specify the address and port to which to connect. These would have to coincide with the ones the server listens on, since we are running both the client and the server on the same machine. So let's say IP equals socket dot get host by name of socket dot get host name. Okay, let's define the port. Okay, now to actually initiate the connection from the client to the server, we will use the connect method and pass the IP address and port as arguments. So CLI.connect and in between parentheses inside the tuple, let's enter IP and port, the two variables we just defined. Now remember that in the server file, we used the send method to welcome a client using a friendly message. Now to prepare the client for accepting the data sent by the server, we should use the recv method and store that data using a variable. So let's say server underscore reply, this is a variable, equals CLI.recv of, let's say, 65,535. This would be the amount of data to be received at once, a maximum amount, of course. Now we also want this data to be printed out on the screen to confirm the communication. So let's print out the reply from the server by simply entering print server reply. Finally, don't forget to close the socket object using the close method. So simply CLI.close. Okay, now it's time to test our client server setup. Let's run each file in a separate terminal. So let me save this. Okay, let's open another terminal. Okay, let's go to the working directory. First, let's start the server to have it listening for connections. So simply Python socket server.py. It looks like there is a misspelling in the file, so let me correct this real quick. I for insert. This should be srv. Okay, let's save it. Let's run the file again. Okay, notice the terminal hanging in a suspended state right now. This means the server is listening for connections. Now, in this other terminal, let's run the client. We should receive the welcome message from the server as soon as we run the file. So Python client socket.py. Success! We have successfully established a connection between a server socket and a client socket. From this point on, you can further study this topic and maybe create your own servers and services. You will find the code for both the client and the server attached to this lecture. Thanks.